one's allowed the books that I've read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest, trauma survivors who explain what's happening during triggers and offer in the moment support plus a 30-day self-directed path to change recurring patterns. No other than Mr. Mark and Miss Lynetta.
Yes, thank you so
Hi.
much for having us.
Hi, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel.
Welcome on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Mm, okay. Well, I am Lynetta, and this is my beloved Mark. And we have really been diving into what has created all of uh, the anxiety and triggers and challenges that we've had in life. And really, it all comes back to trauma that we experienced as children.
And trauma, by the way, isn't necessarily the event, but it's more the effects it's had on us. So even though a lot of people wouldn't say they were traumatized, everybody has had things that have happened to them in their lives that kind of like shocked their system, whether it was when they were very young or older, doesn't really matter. But things happened, and then some part of us reacted to what happened. And it could be our body reacted, and we're like always tense because we're worried somebody's going to attack us, for example. Could be our mind reacted, and we make up things like, oh, the world's just dangerous. Could be our heart, our emotions reacted, and we're like just constantly feeling fear or anxiety. And of course, it always comes back to relationships. And we look at either ourselves or other people and we say, you know what? The world's a dangerous place. You're dangerous to me. I have to be on guard. And it all comes back to that trauma we had way back when in our past. And everybody has had it to some extent.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you for both of you. Keep up the good work and empower people all over the world through your advocacy. So today let's talk about why trauma doesn't go away just because you understand it. Focus the limits of insight alone and why the body and nervous system still react. So tell us,
Mm.
you say trauma does not leave just because we understand it. What is the fundamental neurological or psychological reason why cognitive insight fails to calm and trigger nervous system?
Mm.
Great question.
Yeah. In my own experience, I experienced going into a frozen. So in response to dangerous, I had a violent father, so there would be a danger coming my way, and I would just freeze. And so now, even in adulthood, if somebody raises their voice or I see anger, then my whole body may just freeze, and I just can't even react. I don't know how to respond. And it's not even a thought, it's an immediate body reaction to someone's anger and a bracing, getting ready for it. So the body just naturally knows how to adapt. And how it adapts is by either fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And it's an intelligence. Your body is very intelligent in what it's doing, and it kept you alive. So we're not making that wrong. We're actually saying you're brilliant for how you learned to survive something that was traumatic to you. And go ahead.
Yeah. And your body reacted before your brain did, especially if you were younger when you didn't even have, a thinking mind yet. Your body had the initial reaction and it had to do something to adapt to whatever went on. And when we're older, we do have a thinking brain. But what happens is when something comes our way, something that triggers us, our body responds before it gets to the mind. It's like the first responder that shows up on a disaster.
Yeah.
Well, your body's the first responder, and your mind gets called in a little later, which is why you can't deal with it just on the mind level, because your body's got reactions going on that your mind isn't aware of.
Yeah.
And that's
Interesting.
actually and that's actually why we organize this work. There are 4 books to the Trauma Bible series, and we started intentionally with book 1 being the body, because the body has these reactions that if you skip over them and you just start going to, well, what does the mind do? What do the emotions do? How does it play out in relationships? And you skip over the body, then you're not going to get to all the effects of the trauma in ourselves.
And actually, Mark is a master of mind, emotions, and relationships, but he has not been very in depth with the body, whereas I focused on how to heal the body and how to work with the body. So we're a really good team because I'm showing him how he can heal his own trauma with the body stuff, and he's helping me with all the emotions and with the relationships.
Yeah. So I'm 67 now, and I'm still dealing with body stuff
Yeah.
that I have dealt with my entire life. Now, my mind is great, my emotions great, relationship awesome, still dealing with body stuff because I skipped over body stuff, dealt with what's now books 2, 3, and 4. And now it's like, now, especially as Lynetta's written most of book 1, it's like, oh, I need to do this myself. I skipped it. It was like, oops, got to do it.
Yeah.
So we often hear that the body keeps the score. Why does the body operate?
Yes.
Exactly.
So why does the
Hmm.
body
Yep.
operate on a different, much lower timeline on a safety than a logical mind?
Mm, that's a great
Well,
question.
yeah. The reason is, let's say you were an infant
Yes.
and you had some trauma, whatever. Somebody didn't take care of you. Doesn't mean you necessarily even got hit. Abandonment is trauma too.
Mhm.
People didn't
Mm-hmm.
show up when you had needs. You, as an infant, don't have a thinking mind saying, gee, where are my parents? What's going on here?
Yeah.
It's just like your body's suffering.
And it could be pre-verbal.
Yeah, you don't have words, you don't have thoughts. So
Mhm.
your body had to respond to things, even maybe as an infant. It was the first responder,
Yeah.
and there was nobody else. There wasn't a second responder to show up. You had nothing but your body. That's why
Mhm.
you have to start there.
Yeah.
If focusing solely on the story or narrative of a trauma is limited, what should we be focusing on instead as the primary side of healing?
Instead of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because often people go into story about it when really we need to tune into what I always ask first is, what do you feel in your body? What sensations are showing up right now? Before we go anywhere, we're going to check into the body and see what you're feeling and not jump right into a story.
Are you asking how do we actually heal trauma or address trauma? What's your exact question?
That will be my next question. How would you
Oh,
redefine
Oh,
healing from trauma, moving it away from just making sense of the past to a more actionable present moment goal?
mhm. An actionable present goal.
yeah, I got it.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
So, the first step is the awareness. Like as
Mm,
Lynetta said, like noticing what's going on in your body, or noticing what's going on in your mind or in your feelings, or what's happening in your relationship. So the noticing is the first part.
Mm,
Second part is the understanding. Well, what likely created it? What happened earlier in your life that likely cause these body sensations or thoughts or emotions.
Symptoms.
What happens?
Mm-hmm.
Then, and this is a step most people miss. Most people have they make themselves wrong for these, like some people would call it racing thoughts, or thoughts like there must be something wrong with me, or why am I always afraid, or why does my body always tight? We kind of beat ourselves up for our reactions that our younger selves did involuntarily. The best way to deal with it. So a very important step in the healing of it is to acknowledge that, what, that was the best your body could do. That was the best your young mind could do, or your emotions, or however you adapted to being with other people, like freezing or fawning. That was the best you could do.
And it was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Not wrong or stupid.
Yeah.
It was brilliant because it enabled you to survive a possibly impossible situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we call it a brilliant adaptation. And most of us make ourselves wrong for all these things we're still carrying all these years. We may have been doing our work, our self-work, self-development, spiritual work, whatever you want to call it, for decades even. And we still go to ourselves, geez, why is this still bothering me? Why can't I let go of this?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this self-acceptance that this was a good choice at the time is an important part.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like essential to
There's something that Mark would say for me all the time, and you'll find it throughout our book. Of course, you did what you did. And what he means by that is you had to adapt. You had to survive. And you did. You did a brilliant job at surviving. Thank God you did, because you're still here. I mean, you're alive now, and you wouldn't have been alive if you had not done that. And when I hear that, I was like, oh, he's not saying that what I'm doing is wrong. He's actually saying, thank God you did that. And thank God you're alive, because you wouldn't even be here. And that would be a tragedy if you were not here. So that was so healing for me. And that's why we brought it into the book, because it's actually a way for you, once you I mean, so many people are blaming themselves.
They have shame
and
or
shaming
blame.
themselves for how they responded, when what it really is acknowledging the brilliance of what you did.
And that part's essential. If you can't accept that what you did made great sense at the time, you're not going to get past it. You won't be able to release it.
Yeah.
So that's our like middle step. Then once you've accepted, like, okay, that was the best I could do, and it wasn't a wrong response, it was good at the time.
Yeah.
Then you bring your adult self online. Some people talk about your younger self, your inner child, whatever. So you bring adult you, who's here right now, and you say, okay, you did that reaction as an infant, as a young child, as an adolescent, and it's fine. I understand. I'm glad you did what you did. And I'm going to take it from here. I'm going to be responsible now when something threatening happens, when somebody gets angry around me or at me, or when somebody doesn't speak to me in the way I'd like to be spoken to. I'm going to take charge now.
As the adult.
You, my younger self, however you want to call it, you can rest assured I will make sure we are safe.
Yeah.
We're protected. We are honored. And there's a gradual, and this is like an everyday practice, because those things are so in our system. We've had them for decades.
Yeah.
And it's an everyday practice. That's why each chapter has 30 days of exercises, just for a few minutes every day, to deal with this particular tension in my neck, or this particular thought that I'm not good enough, that I think every day. And you just gradually, for 30 days, you do a different practice to address that particular issue. And gradually, it like loosens its hold on you.
It's a practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how we've healed a lot of our own issues.
Mhm.
Everything from body to relationships.
A big part of it is always acknowledgments. When you acknowledge everything, and people want to be seen, heard, loved, embraced, and understood. And that's what we learn to do for ourselves as we bring up that younger part of ourselves. We're acknowledging and honoring that younger self, really reparenting.
Let's talk about the pathway to healing, working with the body itself. For someone who has done the cognitive work but still feel hijacked by their body's reactions, what is the gentle
That's me.
initial initial step to start building a new relationship with their nervous system?
Yeah.
Presence.
Presence. Yeah. What we call rock solid presence. And that comes with really tuning into the sensations, taking a deep breath and feeling, where is your breath going? Is it going down into your belly? Is it shallow up in your chest? Doing a body scan where you tune in from the very top of your head, and you do a body scan all the way through your forehead, your cheeks, your chin, going through the shoulders, and going through the entire upper torso, down into the lower torso, down through your legs and your feet. And you're just really tuning in and listening and feeling. And you're bringing this rock solid presence, which means you're you're not there to fix it, change it, or make it go away. You're there just to tune in, feel, notice all the sensations, really slow down, notice every little subtle sensation, and really follow the rhythm. Like you're listening for any variation, any changes. You're listening for any messages. I've tuned in for years and listened to my body. Wherever I had pain, I would go directly into it, bring all of my awareness and my presence there, and I just knew not to try to fix it, change it, or make it go away, because it's there. The pain is there to signal you. It's a signal, and it wants you to hear its story. So I would tune in and listen and go, tell me, what are you holding? I will stay here forever and just listen. And I've had a hard time training Mark how to do this, or anybody else, because it's a practice that I've done for years, and I've become very attuned to how to do this practice. But to teach it to someone who has never done anything like this, we need to have a very slow step by step process. And that's what the the trauma Bible, especially in the body section, it takes you through this whole process in a very slow, methodic, very easy to follow, with no clinical jargon, no therapeutic jargon, no spiritual terms. It is everyday language, just like we're speaking right now in a conversation. And that will help people to. Mark's, in fact, going to go through it for himself. And now he's starting to understand what I've been trying to help him with for the last 11 years, because now it's really broken down.
Yeah, and just so you know how much I am not the master of this. For most of my life, I have been uncomfortable in my body and had low levels of pain, especially on my right side, almost like top to bottom, entire life. And there's a part of me that was just like wanting out of my body my whole life. So when I first met Lynetta, and she was talking about, let's tune into your body, it's like, oh, can't I just get out? or can't we just fix it, which is what most people want.
Yeah.
So she's been teaching me this different process. but she's pretty gifted. We actually call her a body whisperer because a lot of times she'll tune in. She's done it for herself. She's done it for me. She does it for other people. And, she'll like put her attention on a certain part of her body that's maybe tight or painful. And she'll just be there and she might say, "Do you have a message for me?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you want to give an example like from your own life?
Oh, well, yeah, I had a cyst in my breast and I just brought all my awareness there and just sat with it and just said, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm not here to fix you, change you, or make you go away. Do you have something, some message for me? What are you holding?" And I heard, "Well, you're taking care of everybody else, but not me." And I knew exactly what it was referring to, that I was people pleasing, taking care of others, and not taking care of my own body. So I started making changes right away. And then I would tune in and listen and feel, and I could feel it getting smaller and smaller and smaller until it was probably about 3 months of consistently tuning in, taking care of myself first, and doing what my body asked me to do, and then the cyst completely went away and I didn't have a need to keep going back and having it examined, so I knew it had gone away and it has never returned, and that's been about 15 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. Inspiring and empowering answers. So, to both of you, what are your short term and long term goals?
Short term. Short term goal right now is focused on the books, all
Yeah.
4 books
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. Right now, book 1 is written, book 2's almost done, and we want all 4 books to be written in the next month. Though we're going to be releasing them over several months because we don't want to overwhelm people. We want people to take, at least a month or 2 or 3 maybe with book 1 before they start diving into the book 2 on the mind and thoughts and limiting beliefs.
Yep.
So we're highly focused on getting all the books out.
Long-term goal is to go around the world and speak and share what we've, had, what we have in the books and how it guides people to their own healing and empowerment.
Right.
And workshops.
Yeah. And we literally see this. I mean, it may sound a little bit haughty, but I'm going to say it anyways. We literally see this as a path to world peace.
Yeah.
Because if you look around at all the stuff going on in the world and all the terrible ways we treat each other, basically you can trace it all back to triggers that were never dealt with, and people are just taking it out on other people.
Yeah.
So our goal is to train, if we can, every person on this planet in how to do all this for themselves so they don't take any of their crap out on other people.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
That's the big goal.
Yep.
The big vision.
Yep.
Good luck to your goals, both of you, and looking forward for more success for 2026 and beyond. What will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you or both of you?
Mm. 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 I'd say never stop seeking. We've been seekers all our life. And I feel like now we finally have, from all of our seeking, we have answers that really work, not just for us, but for everybody.
Yeah. So I would say find what works for you.
Yeah.
This is something that has been decades in the making in our own personal lives and then in our lives together. And it works incredibly wonderfully for us.
Yeah.
For us together, for all 4 of these domains. Our lives, even though, like as I said, I'm still working on body stuff a lot, but our lives are the best we have ever had. And we're both in our 60s now.
Yeah.
And in fact, this trauma Bible, these books, we wish we had them when we were younger. We basically stumbled through life, stumbled through relationships, through thoughts, emotions, body stuff. And man, if we had had this, 40, 50 years ago, our
Mm,
lives would have been totally different.
yeah.
So I'd say find what works for you and,
Yeah.
try this out. And if it
Mm.
works for you, great. And if not, find what will work for you.
Yeah. Tune in what really aligns and resonates with you and your heart, and you'll know. Trust it. Just trust your inner knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, people, trust your gut. Okay, and
Yes.
thank you for that advice. And can you please
Yeah.
recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Ah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, for me, Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. That's was my very first book that helped me in healing my body. And for you?
For me, the biggest book I would say is Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton. And it's a book about, um, well, literally, what are we doing on this planet? What is life all about? It's kind of dealing with all the big questions. And getting the understanding I got from those books just brought me this huge piece about what life is about and also empowerment. Like, wow, I can really go after anything I want in my life. Nothing is right or wrong as long as I'm also aware of how it affects other people.
Yeah.
So my whole life view changed, especially from those two books.
Yeah.
Okay, and thank you for that. Recommended books. Do the Works 5 Step of Transcend Trauma. Can you tell us about this
Yeah.
book of yours, Miss Lynetta?
Yes, that book I wrote, I actually put in my very darkest moments in my life, basically to get over the fear of people finding out about my darkest, deepest secrets.
Mm,
And so I share those, but I also share how I transcended that trauma, and then I share those tools with the reader so they can follow along and try those different tools. Like, for instance, the very first one is shaking your whole body, and it's releasing trauma by shaking and trembling, and it really works. So that's one.
shake
And
those
you're,
body.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And if you like good stories, as I know you do, the stories Lynetta shared about her life and what she went through, when I first heard her stories, I was like, maybe on a soap opera, I would have heard something like this, but I honestly didn't know people in real life went through everything that you did
Yeah.
and survived. I mean, literally, I was so like, wow, how did you survive all that?
Yeah.
So if you like good stories, she's got amazing stories of what she went through and how she survived and conquered all those things from her past.
Yeah. And then yours, Three
Yes.
Doors to the Soul.
Yeah. And
Yes,
mine
Readers of the
was,
Soul.
I had questions from when I was young about what is life all about. And this relays kind of my own personal journey, and it's really a recommendation of the best resources I have found to date that help people kind of answer those big questions. And in fact, one of the core recommendations are those two books from Dr. Michael Newton, Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls. It's kind of a reference book for people who might be on a personal journey. You might check out some of these resources because they helped me really to understand myself and the world and others in a way that I found empowering.
And answered your questions like, why are you here?
Yeah, why are we here?
Yeah.
How powerful are we?
Mhm.
Yeah, all the big questions. This is my personal journey and the answers I found so far.
Yeah.
Interesting book. So, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book one-on-one review upcoming sixth season next year. Comedy 101 in third season, and Food 101 in its sixth season. These December, Geography 101 Love Letters, Movie 101 Review, Music 101 our fourth season, Science 101, Sex 101 a second season of my baby podcast, Mental Health 101, Law 101, Bible Verses 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and Motivation 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So,
Can,
to
Wow.
can we talk about Sex 101?
yes, definitely.
I
Please
want to
do
know
come
what's in
over.
there.
Sex 101 is all about sex and relationships.
Oh, we
Awesome.
love
Yes.
it.
Please do come
Yeah.
over. Please do come over and let's talk about something under the sun. Okay, so for my
Yes.
last question is, what is the one thing loved ones or therapists should understand about why a person cannot just think their way out of a trauma response?
Hmm. How about you?
Sure. We kind of did discuss this earlier. You can't think your way out because your body reacted before you had thinking.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to deal with the body's response and not just the mind's response.
Mhm.
The body has its own intelligence and it has to be addressed as your body,
Mhm.
separate from the thoughts of your mind and the emotions of your heart.
Mhm.
And if you skip it, you end up like me. You still end up with body stuff in your 60s.
There's another part to it, which is I have a playbook that I'm creating that's about, it's called the Parts Playground. And what it goes into is how you inherited it from your parents and from your ancestors. And if you don't deal with that, then you may have things that keep repeating over and over again because you're still carrying family patterns that need to be given back to them in honor and respect. But like with my mother, I had to turn her around to her mom and say, this is between you and your mother. It has nothing to do with me. And that freed me up immediately. I stopped obsessing on my mom. I'm like, wow, just that one statement. And that is part of the work that I do, which is related to Bert Hellinger family constellations. It's inspired by that work.
And this
Mm.
is book 5 of our series. We have besides the initial 4, we have a whole bunch of other books that are in the work. And the Parts Playground is book 5. And it's a particularly effective technique for almost like, again, addressing the question you did about why is it not enough to just address it, in the mind.
Mhm.
And it's because these are patterns that have been passed down to us.
Yep.
The trauma we may have received from our parents didn't originate with them.
Mm.
And it needs to be dealt with across the generations to really put things to rest and
Yeah.
to release it.
Yep.
At least that's our personal opinion.
Yep.
And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. To both of you, keep up the good work and create more books that inspire people all over the world. So, can you please invite the listeners to support your books, your advocacy, or whatever projects that they're doing right now?
Mhm.
How can they, you're asking?
How can they?
Yes.
So the best thing is to go to intro.thetraumabible.com, and we have a free intro to the series that will explain a little bit more about it and how it can help them by addressing all 4 of these domains that trauma travels in. And then we also have a sampler.thetraumabible.com, which is the first 3 chapters of the body book, book 1. And they can literally try the whole philosophy of the book out for themselves. There's 3 full chapters in there. It's about 40 pages total. And each one addresses the head and the ears and the jaws and how trauma affects each of those. And it has 30 days of exercises they can try out and see if they can release some of the issues they're having in their body. And that's available for free or pay whatever you want on sampler.thetraumabible.com. So it'd be a great place to get started.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Mark and Miss Lynetta because if you support them, for sure more and more empowering advocacy will rise. So, Mr. Mark and Miss Lynetta, thank you so much for your time.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're delighted to chat with you.
Thank you so much.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Likewise. More to come, people. See you soon.